I got no motivation, I don't know what to do. Hey, I got no inspiration, I don't have a clue. Hey! It is one of those weeks where I don't know what I want to photograph. I don't know where I want to go. Do I even want to take my camera out? Sometimes these days happen. And I thought I would force myself out anyway to see if I could develop some inspiration. And if not, then I know, okay, just need to pop the camera down for a little bit, just take a step back. And I thought I would bring you with me because why not? You're welcome.
This video is kindly sponsored by NPB.
I've realised that I'm telling porkies already. I do have some inspiration. So I was exploring a path around this area not too long ago and I spotted a scene that I told myself I would come back and explore. That is exactly what I am going to do. Oh, here we are. Look at these two trees leaning over the water. They're absolutely beautiful, such twisting, interesting branches. You know what? This'll do. Weather could be more interesting, but hey, it is what it is. Let's get to work. This is almost perfect. These trees are beautiful. These trees are so picturesque and I can see a few different potential ideas for images here, and especially in different seasons. Autumn, winter, these two trees are going to be fantastic, ideally, to photograph. Right now, oh, the water is really bothering me, the reflection on the water there, and a polarizing filter is taking it away very slightly, but it can't take it away completely. But it makes that part of the image feel sort of crunchy, like there's too much texture there. And I don't like that. Where possible, if I can get soft sort of dreaminess in my images, that is what I prefer. So it's really making me hesitate. I think this is going to be a case of taking my time with this so that I can do it right and not rushing it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a whole bunch of reference photos with my phone, just very quickly, of all the different angles and possibilities. And I'm going to revisit these trees in different conditions, different times of the day, over the next few weeks, next few months, and just keep working with it and working on it. And there we go. There is motivation for a long-term project and some inspiration. So despite no photos this morning, still a success. Welcome back. It is winter, and I think this is specifically a winter scene, and let me show you why. It's blooming bright. Now, being winter, we obviously have bare trees. We don't have any leaves on the trees anymore, so there is a lot more sky creeping into this scene. However, to me this feels a bit more balanced. The sky becomes a part of the scene, of the image. Instead of a few highlights on the surface of the water, that's quite distracting. Additionally, because you can see through the trees to the landscape beyond, you no longer get that impression of everything, the world stops at these trees, at the end of these tree branches. Instead, you get the impression that you are on a large body of water. There's still a lot of detail in this scene, and so I think my ideal image would be something that is soft, dreamy, wintry, and I'm going to need very specific conditions to achieve something like that. So I think my best bet is going to be a sunrise.
So this brings me to planning. Now I tend to keep my eye on a few different weather apps to get a general consensus rather than just trust one app in particular. As apps, they will all say something very slightly different, frustratingly. So Windy is an excellent app. Clear Outside is a favourite. For sunrise and sunset direction, Photopills is invaluable. You've probably heard this one a few times. Winter is ideal for the sunrise here, while in spring and summer it's rising more directly behind the trees, and more often enough a challenge of forest photography is that the tree line often does block the light unless you're on higher ground or at the edge of a woodland in a more sort of open space. But as much as planning and preparation matters, you just get to a point where you've just got to get out and give it a go. So I think my next opportunity looks like this Saturday morning. I think I really have this week to give this a go if I want those wintry, cold conditions, because the weather then turns pretty mild and wet. So I guess let's just do it. I will see you there. While I'm gearing up, I just want to thank MPB for sponsoring today's video. Many people this time of year are looking for a bit of a restart, a clean slate with the new year, and so if you find yourself looking to change kit or pass on existing unused kit that you own, then MPB is the place for you. MPB is the largest online platform to buy, sell and trade in used video and photo kit, and they make the selling process so unbelievably easy and simple. Their instant quote service is free, and all you have to do is pop in the item that you're selling and the condition you believe it to be in to receive your quote. If you're happy with it, you can then arrange sending your kit to MPB, and they have options from home pickup to local drop-off locations. And all you've got left to do is pack everything up in a box and wave it off. MPB will simply do the rest, and you will be paid within a couple of days. I choose to use MPB because they really do take the faff out of selling or trading in your used kit. It really is just so easy and effortless, so give it a go yourself. I will leave links down to MPB in the description box if you'd like to go check them out. And thank you once again MPB for sponsoring today's video.
Well, attempt number one. I'm going to use this probably as a bit of a trial run, just to sort of see where the sun comes up in the top left of the frame there, and I'm just waiting for the sun to make its appearance. Ideally, I've sort of romanticised in my head a very wintry scene, sort of the ground frosted over, a bit of mist on the surface of the water, and I don't have either of those things here. The ground is frosted over in parts because it's about -2 degrees this morning, but the edge of the pond where I am is still a bit sort of wet and muddy. But we will see how this turns out. Trying to stay warm, do some running. Fast as heck, boy! So I can actually see the sun coming up on my left through a gap in the trees. Just the light is still being blocked from coming all the way through. And it's out of frame, unfortunately, which is fine. It would have been nice if it was in that top corner, but it's just not going to happen, and it just is what it is. But that light is going to be blocked for a good while before it can get through the trees and sort of hit this scene. And at that point, the sun has to rise quite high in the sky, and that could be another hour to 2 hours. And I think at that point, the background, which is catching a little bit of light already, it's going to be so harsh, it's just not going to give me that sort of softer image that I was really looking for this morning. And that light's not going to hit until about sort of midday, I think, which is, yeah. Well, now that I'm walking around to the other side of the pond, the sun is very clearly up here and shining brightly. The tree line is not blocking it over here. So that scene in particular, well, it's clearly not a sunrise scene, but I still think it's a winter scene. It just needs that more moody, atmospheric, extreme conditions, sort of the frost, the thick frost, the the fog, the mist. But those conditions just don't come around very often. As you can see, we have had a bit of snow in the Forest of Dean overnight, and it's really not what I expected at all. I was sort of banking on some mist on the pond instead. The pond is completely frozen over. It's very, very different, but absolutely beautiful. I actually think these conditions and this time of morning, that sort of gentle, soft light just before sunrise or as the sun is coming up, just creates this very sort of calm, peaceful, slow mood. And these trees have been here for a long time. They have been leaning over this pond and fishing in this pond for a long, long time, and they are just rooted to this spot, to this moment. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And so I think this has all come together this morning very, very nicely. It's just got this sense of slowness, of stillness, of calm, and I think it just works beautifully. Now, don't get me wrong, the initial idea that I had for this scene, something a bit more striking, a bit more dramatic, with some sunrise light sort of coming in and really exaggerating the shape of these trees perhaps, would have been amazing as well. And again, the sort of mist and fog that I'm after would create a very different atmosphere again. I think it's just arriving on location and reading what it is that you have in front of you and working with it. Different conditions will bring out different stories within this one scene here. And I suppose you've just got to get out there and see what stories nature offers you today.
I really like how this image turned out in the end, and this frozen over bit of water really sort of breaks up the detail in this part of the scene, really simplifies this side here, and I didn't really notice how much of effect that made until I compared it with the first shot, which is much, much busier, a lot more texture in comparison, which is why I wanted, if I could, you know, those foggy, misty conditions just to kind of break up this section of the sky, the trees, the lake a little bit, and simplify it. But still, as a winter scene, it's nice detail and all. In the end, this kind of comes down to preference and intention. My intent was to photograph a softer, dreamier, wintry scene if possible, and that kind of image needs particular light and conditions to achieve. And so this image works and the first one doesn't in that regard. However, had my intention instead just to photograph this scene in winter with some quiet light, this first image absolutely works. And I do stand by my decision not to photograph this in summer and for it to be a winter scene. I absolutely love that you just can see more of all of these branch shapes and detail. Having a vision for your image is very, very useful. It can be quite important. It gives you direction. However, it can become dangerous when your vision turns into expectation, and anything that you experience outside of that expectation will then feel disappointing. And I'm not disappointed by this first image, not at all. I just simply prefer the more wintry version. I think that's all I have to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I see you next time.